Greetings, Pool Player Nation. Jason Bowman here. I'm joined by Bill Tufts, and we are previewing the upcoming U.S. Amateur Championship to be held for the first time in a quarter century in Las Vegas.
Yeah, the big return. So definitely looking forward to this one. It's been kind of in the Southeast for quite a bit. So this was it was a big change to the program, but I think we've got some exciting things set up for everybody, and they're really going to enjoy their time.
Yeah, and obviously, the good old Westgate, right?
Yes.
Home away from home for us. So the nice thing about going back to a facility that we do so many other events is they're pretty used to how we do things, particularly when it comes to getting pool tables set up, arenas set up, and all that good stuff. So that, I think, will probably be nice. There's no learning curve there for them.
Yeah, I think that the familiarity, right? It's definitely something that helps whenever it comes to the event setup and just the coordination of the event, along with just, like you said, their experience with dealing with our clientele. Now, our clientele does go to Vegas quite a bit,
right.
So it's on us to obviously make the event special for them, but it's pretty easy with this one. It's quite a unique event, one we look forward to every year.
Yeah, I imagine a lot of our participants in this year's U.S. Amateur Championship have probably been to the Westgate before.
I would think so.
For one of our other events, but just in case, we want to make sure we run through some event-related things to help you prepare and get ready to go to Vegas, and things to help you once you're on the ground in Vegas. So let's just start with preparations. Dress code, a little bit different for the U.S. Amateur Championship, a little bit nicer dress code. If you could just talk a little bit about what players should plan to pack in their wardrobe.
Sure. This one, it's most like probably our Pool Dog Championship arena dress code at the other events. So for anybody that's been there and is familiar with that, we've got a business casual dress code, right? We're expecting everybody to come dressed nicely, represent themselves well. We are pretty strict on the dress code too. So there are definitely things that aren't allowed. You guys can see the list here. We enforce this, right? If we see it, we do something about it. Now, within that, right, we do allow for players to bring up any complaints about dress code or any questions regarding whether or not what they're wearing passes dress code. We're happy to answer those. Okay. We're also happy to address any dress code potential issues. We're not going to do it in the middle of a match, right? If a match has started, we see it, it's not egregious, it just doesn't fit, right? We are going to let the match play out, but we will address it before the next round. Now, if it is offensive, if it's something that,
immediately has to be changed,
then you could risk forfeit for that. Okay. There's no time to change. So you got to make sure that you show up prepared, right? Don't take the risk. Definitely follow dress code. And then I would say it's a little different for us going in November, right? To Vegas. It's going to be a little bit cooler.
Yeah, I would definitely bring a light jacket. Yeah. I know we typically say bring a hoodie or something long sleeves for being inside, even when it's hot. But November in Vegas, you're probably looking at upper 60s, low 70s during the day, into the 50s, potentially upper 40s at night with wind. I will be packing a light jacket, no doubt about it, and I would encourage all of you to do the same. But I want to go back to the dress code. If we could pull that up real quick, I just want to run through it. You can see for men, casual slacks or dress pants, sleeve shirts in good taste, sleeved, and I'm assuming for the most part collared.
Collared shirts.
Okay.
Yeah, we do. There are some shirts that aren't collared, right? They're nice dress shirts.
The jersey type, quarter collar
so
type
it doesn't
shirts.
necessarily have to be, but normally if your shirt does have a collar, it probably has sleeves too.
Okay.
Definitely
make sure it has sleeves.
Hopefully it does. You're probably good to go if it's a collared shirt.
Okay. Proper footwear, that can include tennis shoes, correct?
It can. We just don't want anything that's like worn out, trashy, holes, that kind of thing. Right.
And like you said, no tears, holes, or stains. And really the no list here, no hats, T-shirts, shorts, athletic apparel.
The athletic apparel can get a little tricky. I mean, we're talking about a sporting event. Sometimes you do have those jerseys, right? We wouldn't consider that this type of athletic apparel, right? Like what you're wearing, right now. That would be okay as far as if you're cold or whatever else. We're going to have to be a little bit flexible whenever it comes to jackets and things like that. A lot of them are more of that, kind of stretchier polyester type material, a little sportier looking. We'll judge it on, the merits of what it actually is and whether or not it's appropriate.
Okay.
So I said, it gets a little tricky.
But don't show up in your favorite team's
basketball
jersey. Don't wear.
jerseys.
Don't
Yeah,
wear. I'm not
that's
going to
what
wear
this
my
thing's
Florida
referring
Gator
to.
jersey out there because one, they're not doing very well, but also like that doesn't pass. And no hats. We have hats
No
on
hats.
here, but you can't
Yes.
wear a hat in the
No sports
in the
shorts, no
tournament. So we
shorts.
definitely dressed it up a little bit. And if we could run through the ladies, if we could pull that one up again real quick, the women's dress code. Maybe. There we go. Casual slacks, dress pants, capris work, skirts, dresses, shirts in good taste. Key here, dresses and skirts got to be a conservative length, nothing too short, no body parts hanging out when you're leaning over the table, please. And proper footwear, which we've talked about. And basically the same rules now as for the open division, the rest of this list. So you get a good idea. And like Bill said, a good measuring stick, I think, is just look at what we typically ask people to wear in Pool Dog Arena for the other events in Vegas, and that's a good guide.
Yes, it
right.
is.
So hop online if you're not sure. Look at some videos. Ask when you get there. We're happy to advise you. But I think for the most part, a lot of these USAM players, they kind of know the drill. Even if they haven't been there, they kind of know. And it's one of the reasons they like this event, right? It's a little dressier. It's a little more proper, that kind of thing. So that will be your dress code. But again, make sure you got a light jacket for this one. It is going to be mid-November in Las Vegas, and it can be very cool in the evening, especially if that wind is blowing.
Yeah,
So,
and I think that's a good point. We're talking about the outside.
yeah.
Internally, right? Normally, when we're there in the summertime, they have to turn up the AC. And so they're cranking the AC. People, as the day goes on, people vacate the space. As the rounds close out, it gets really cold. I wouldn't anticipate that as much in November. They're not going to be cranking AC. But just in general, the temperature. So I would say it's probably not going to be hot in the tournament rooms. I would imagine it'll be just regular room temperature or so. But outside, that could be a different story.
Okay. So maybe layer up. Layering's a good idea. You can, if you've got a jersey on, a hoodie on top of that, and if you go out, a jacket on top of that maybe. So that covers the dress code. We always like to mention as far as the pool cues for those of you that are flying to Las Vegas, probably a lot more people flying this time given the venue and location. You do need to check your cues if you're flying out. You need to check it in your luggage, get it underneath the plane. They typically do not allow you to carry on your cue in case. I know we've heard stories of people that have managed to do it one way or another, but it's kind of an anomaly. It's not the standard, so would encourage you to just pack it in your case and have it tucked away underneath the airplane there.
Yeah, the one good thing about the player base we're talking about, I think they're pretty attuned to traveling with their cues and keeping them safe. But yeah, if you haven't been on a plane with a cue, they don't allow them. Right. So definitely don't plan on doing that. You gotta be able to put it in your check bag and trust that it's going to be secure to get out there, right? Or find another method.
All right. So a couple other things before you go to Vegas. We have a finalist guide, a USAM finalist guide. You're going to want to make sure that you have reviewed the information in the finalist guide. There's a QR code that we'll show you here in just a moment that'll take you to all the information there. It's going to tell you dates, times, schedules for different things, and help you navigate your time there at the Westgate for the U.S. Amateur Championship. So kind of being in the know always helps to have a smoother experience. Again, like you said, in most cases, I think people have probably either been to the Westgate or at least traveled for a tournament, so some familiarity there. But once you get to Vegas, this is another thing we like to mention, especially for Vegas because we go there so often, is transportation. You're going to have a few different options for transportation. And once you get to the Las Vegas airport, you have cabs, obviously, is probably the main mode of transportation. You have Uber and Lyft. It is a different pickup location than the cab stand, but that's also a pretty effective way to get from the airport to the Westgate. There are shuttles, multi-person shuttles where you can, basically buy a seat, and they're probably going to pack 12 to 15 people in a van, and they're going to run you down the strip. And depending on the first stop and the last stop, Westgate, I guess, could theoretically be the first stop, could also be the last stop.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
So, if you're looking to save, and this is an event where a lot of players are going to travel solo, so I could see maybe wanting to save a couple of bucks. You can certainly look into shuttles. Just Google Vegas shuttles. You'll find plenty of options. Vegas Airport Shuttle. We always kind of mention the limos. I don't know if for this event, if anybody's going to be rolling in a limo. Maybe the defending champs will roll up in a limo.
I don't know. They have a helicopter pad on the top of the building.
Yeah,
too.
maybe the former champs will roll in limos, but Vegas is obviously famous. You can get a limo from the airport if you want. It probably runs you $100 and something bucks.
Yeah, a little cheaper than the helicopter option.
Yeah. But there are some different options. Don't try to walk from the Westgate.
Yeah, don't do that.
Or to the Westgate from the airport or vice versa. It is a long, dangerous, and not suitable stretch of road. Like there is no sidewalk to just walk. So. At least for quite a while.
Yeah, not advisable.
And you're going to walk through some areas of town that you probably don't want to be walking around in, especially at night. So make sure you got a mode of transportation in mind. Once you get to the Westgate, obviously you always want to get checked into the hotel as soon as you can. Even if you're getting there earlier in the day for whatever reason and your room's not ready, you can drop your bag. The Westgate has the bell desk where you can leave your bags and go about your business and go explore, walk around, get something to eat, whatever you want to do. You just tip the guy, $5 for holding your bags and that kind of thing, and then you don't have to drag everything around the Westgate with you, because it is generally a good idea too to kind of check out the space. Once you're checked in the hotel, I was going to ask you, because I'm not exactly sure what area I know it's the Westgate Convention Center area, which we always use for the tournaments, but specifically because this is a more intimate, smaller event, which portion of that convention space will we use for USAM?
So for anybody that's actually been to the events before and is familiar with the Mini Mania room, we essentially have ballroom A and B. That would be the Mini Mania room. That would be where the control tables are and the first set of tables in front of those. So the first half of that room, kind of in the back there. So you got to go down the corridor. Okay. Right? So you're basically
past all the restaurants.
Where we would normally have vendors in there.
You come into the big foyer area, and it's basically the wall behind that, right?
Yeah, you're going to walk down to a hall corridor. We're going to be kind of midway through before you get to the FedEx.
Okay. We'll be in there. So a little bit shorter walk. If you've been to our events, you don't have to go all the way to the main tournament room. I guess if you take that outer route around, you will have to go a little bit further in, maybe. But
if you went outside, you'd have to backtrack and come through.
I'm a big outside guy. I like to take the outside route, not go through the smoking area.
Really not too good of an idea probably to go outside and track through, because there are other groups at the Westgate.
Some we're not used to.
Yeah. So you'd have to walk through those. I don't know what that's going to look like as far as their event goes. But if you just follow straight down restaurant row, you hit the ballroom. You're not going to go in those first doors. You're going to just make a quick right. There's a corridor hall that leads over to the convention center. You walk down that. Before you get to the FedEx, you make a left. We're in there. Okay. And we'll have signs up and everything. Plus, it's always a good idea to follow the pool cues.
Right. And so when you get to Vegas, we are going to be doing, like we said, registration on site. That registration, we've got 2 windows. Our preference would be for you to show up to the first window on Thursday, November 13th from 4 to 7 p.m. You're going to get registered. We're also going to do a very quick, and I mean quick, photo shoot, like 30 seconds it's going to take us. We get a couple shots of you, but what we do with those photos is we turn those around and produce player cards, player graphics for every person that participates in the event, assuming they get registered and get their photo taken. And then we will use those for the streaming and some different things. So it's kind of a nice, I'll call it a nice little gift if you're playing in the event to have this produced. A lot of players will, use these as their Facebook profile or their cover photo or different things, on social media. But it's important that you show up at your registration, get your photo taken, be prepared to have your photo taken when you show up there. Again, if you can get there Thursday night, the better. We will have another registration window on Friday morning, November 14th. That is the day the event starts. All right, but we will be doing some registration and photos that morning as well. If for whatever reason you can't make it Thursday, but again, I'm encouraging you, get it done Thursday. I know all the ladies will do it Thursday because they are very good about this. The open division players, and I'm talking about you men, I'm sorry, get there on Thursday, get your stuff done, get registered, get your photo taken, even if you've been there before, okay? We don't dig through the old photos. We like to get a new photo of you. So make sure you get registered, get your photo taken, and that way we've got it and we do the things we need to do with it.
We also have practice on Thursday night. So we are intending that during that time, that's when we'll actually have practice tables available. Once the event starts, right, we're using most of the tables for the first day and a half or so. So you want to make sure that if you want to get on those tables, you want to have practice time, this would be that guaranteed time. Now, we do have practice time the next morning, but I can tell you that because we will have people that will arrive later, they'll be doing that. Everybody will be in-house. You've got the women's division and the open division will both be there. Those tables are going to be in high demand. It's the day that we actually kick off the event. You're probably better off getting there on Thursday, doing the registration then, and being able to secure a table through that block. Yeah.
And how many tables will we have for the
We
tournament?
will have 33.
33 tables, all being used for tournament play or any of those practice?
So there are some times where the schedule drops down and allows us to use them for practice, and we'll let you know when those times happen. But for the most part, we're using, I think, at least 30 of them almost every single round. 31 if you count the stream table. So it may be a couple tables in there, but I know for a fact that there are a few rounds where we're using every single one.
Okay, so there is no designated practice table that's open throughout the tournament. So, and the other interesting thing, so the tournament runs the 14th, 15th, and 16th. And for the first time in 15, 16 years, the ladies in the open division will play concurrently instead of the ladies first and then the open afterwards. So that'll be a little bit different. Bring in a little bit bigger crowd. I mean, it's still fairly small compared to what we would normally do at the Westgate, which I like about this event. Don't get me wrong. Small is okay. I'm okay with that. Easier to get down the hall. But that'll be kind of an interesting thing, having the ladies and the open division all going at the same time.
It may be the single biggest benefit of the move to Las Vegas. It allows us to get the amount of tables that we needed to be able to run both the women's division and the open division at the same time. And that's something that we honestly haven't been afforded since, I don't know what year that was, 2008 or so, 2009.
I mean, I don't know that we ever had 33 tables.
Never that many,
we had maybe 20-something
But we
tables.
had,
Strokers.
I think, the first strokers, I think we had 21 tables, right?
Okay.
At 21, and we actually ran the women's division and the open division. They finished on the same day. In this one, we have enough tables to where we will finish the women on Saturday.
Right.
And then the open division will finish on Sunday. So that's where you kind of see like more tables become available for practice kind of later in the day on Saturday. But I think it brings attention back to the women's event. The open division players get to see those matches get played too, right? In between, whenever they may have to play. I think overall there was a different feel when they played at the same time back in the day. And I do remember that. And it was something that we honestly would have went to sooner if we would have had this opportunity. So we're excited to see how it goes. We hope everybody likes it. And, we intend to keep it.
33 9-foot diamond tables, correct?
Yes. 33 9-foot diamond tables.
Excellent. I was looking over the rosters. 128 in the men's? How many in the ladies, you know?
Not off the top of my head.
I keep saying men's, the open.
The open.
The open.
Yeah.
It's technically the open. Typically almost all men. Sometimes we do have a lady in there that likes to try to win the bigger bracket. But I was looking over, there's 8 former champs in the open, including the defending champ James Blackburn. There are 4 former champions in the ladies division, including last year's champion Kendra Prestegard. Some other notables in the men's or open division, 5-time champion Brian Parks out of Bakersfield, who has not competed, I don't think, since pre-COVID in the U.S. Amateur Championship. Will be back for the first time amongst, again, several other former champions. And in the ladies, we've got Stacy Bourbeau, 3-time champion. She's back looking for her 4th. So those are going to be some names to remember if you don't.
Absolutely.
And I'll be curious to see how they do against, because one of the things with this move to the West Coast is, and I don't know what the preliminary sign-up numbers look like, but I'm assuming we're pulling some people from different areas of the country, perhaps. And so we may see kind of a new influx of talented amateur players and see how these kind of seasoned veterans do against some of the new talent.
I mentioned at the beginning of the video, the move to Westgate wasn't made, without a lot of thought. And a lot of that thought went to, where is the bulk of our play coming from now? And what we've always known about the USAM is that the bulk of the preliminary play tends to be in and around the region where the championship is going to be held. And that's been true for the moves as it moved from, the upper East Coast all the way down to the Florida area. So the move back to the West, to Las Vegas in particular, it's a little concerning about, what will our participation look like. Our participation was still strong, though. We still had plenty of players that wanted to compete and come out. You mentioned the former champions wanting to come and do it. But we are hopeful that the move opens up more opportunities for players on the West Coast and those that are from, the Central to maybe get to participating a bit more than they have, kind of spread the player base out. Our goal has always been to get the best players from every corner of this country and Canada.
Right.
And so we're still trying to do that. And we figure the best way we can do that is by improving the event year over year, making it a better experience year over year. And then giving people a reason to come, even if it's a bit further away, even, if it's somewhere where they've been a few times. Again, we believe that the uniqueness of the event, what we're able to do with it currently in Las Vegas, the opportunities it opens up for markets that otherwise wouldn't participate is all great benefit.
Yeah. And you mentioned the uniqueness of the event. One of the unique things is the format, the combination 8-ball and 9-ball. What that looks like, in case you're not familiar, for the women's division, that'll be a race to 5, at least up until the championship match, which will be an extended race. But you're looking at 3 games of 8-ball, 6 games of 9-ball, or up to 6 games of 9-ball. And then in the open division, you'll be looking at a race to 7, up 5 games of 8-ball, and up to 8 games of 9-ball. So a little bit longer race. And then again, they will move to an extended race for that championship match. It is double elimination format up until the championship match, which is again extended race. So whoever wins that hot seat match, once they move on to that final, it does become single elimination at that point. But it is a little bit longer race to work with. So that is one of the things that I think makes the USAM very unique and generates a lot of interest amongst our player base. Very similar to that Masters format, which is so popular.
Very, very similar.
Yeah.
Masters was taken from that format, actually. So, I think it is the uniqueness of the actual format itself, along with the fact that, you're playing for pride. You're playing for glory, being on the trophy forever, right? That adds a different element that you don't see at the other events, whenever there's a lot of money involved and things like that. What we get is the best out of players, the best sportsmanship. If you win, you played great. Your opponent might have played great too. If you lose, you might have played great. Your opponent played better, right? Or maybe you feel you didn't do what you needed to, but it's rarely a thing where it's put on the opponent as something they did, right, caused you to lose, in a negative way. So all of that just leads to a unique blend. It's unlike any tournament experience I've ever been to in our organization or outside.
Yeah. Should be a great event. Again, mid-November will be here before we know it, and excited to get to the Westgate and for the first time ever to host the U.S. Amateur Championship. Anything else you want to add that we haven't covered today for those that will be making the trip out?
We just appreciate you all. Thank you guys for going out there, participating in the prelims. For everybody that didn't make it, we hope that you guys try again and try to get out there. For everybody that does come, again, we're going to try to make this experience the best one we've ever had. We do that every time out. I think we're pretty successful at it so far. We don't intend to, stray from that path. So if you guys see something that's not quite working right, bring it up to us. Let us know. If there's something we can improve, we definitely will try, right? And if there's anything that anybody needs, any questions, whatever else, just search us out. We're happy to help in any way possible to make your experience better.
Sounds good. Yeah, if you're coming out to Vegas for the USAM, make sure you bring your A game because the margins of error are thin in that tournament. And for those of you that aren't fortunate enough to come out for this year's U.S. Amateur Championship, we will be covering several rounds throughout the tournament on live stream. You can find that on our Facebook page, our YouTube channel. Billiard TV will also be carrying those matches. So you're getting a quick look here at the agenda, which again can be found in the event finalist guide. You can also go to our website, poolplayers.com, and get all the U.S. Amateur Championship information there as well. So for now, we're going to sign off. We look forward to seeing everyone in Las Vegas, and should be a great event.
Yes, it will be.
Thanks for tuning in, guys.